The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
There we go. A very good evening to you, and welcome to the Locker Room on Independence Live. My name is, of course, Mike McToon. I'm joined by the TikTok. I think you've got 2,000 followers, Graham. I don't know how you can follow yourself to 1,000 times, but anyway. So we're joined by Graham Duffy tonight, and the man it's still on MySpace. It's Regan Stevens. All right, Regan, how are you?
I'm not bad. I'm feeling a bit left out now that Graham's got all these making himself a social media sensation. But I'm good, Michael. I mean, Celtic are not playing too well at the moment, but we'll see how they get on Sunday. It was a bit of a lucky match on Tuesday. I thought Hibs were the better team. They probably could have won 3-4-1. But then Tony Ralston stepped up and made a great tackle, which led to the penalty. I thought overall, Michael, was a great week for Scottish football.
I don't really want to hurt Regan's feelings, Graham, but it was a difficult game for Celtic on Tuesday because it wasn't on Tuesday night, it was Wednesday night they were playing, but I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
And stuff like that. You just brought it up.
What's that?
I said, how can you let it go when you just brought it up?
Well, yeah, exactly. But I had to confirm the right date and the right time as well. Get your comments coming in. We're here till 7 o'clock. We want to get your shock of the weekend. Obviously, it's a Scottish Cup weekend, so I've got my shocks down here. So I would be interested to hear from you guys, and also Graham and Regan. We're here until 7 o'clock. Right, before we get on to the Scottish Cup weekend, it begins tonight actually at Capital, 7:30. Quite a weird kickoff time, but anyway, let's move on to the Nations League, Graham. Of course, the Scotland has got the Euros to look forward to, but they've also got the Nations League beginning on the 5th of September.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with the draw. Croatia, Portugal and Poland. It's a difficult group, but it could have been a lot worse. I kind of predicted, I said that my favourite lineup was Croatia, Hungary and Poland, so I wasn't far away. But yeah, it's a difficult group, but I think it's one that Scotland can do well in. Obviously, the first game is against Poland, so Lewandowski's coming to Hampden. We've also going to be playing against Ronaldo as well. But I think Scotland can do well in that group. I really do. It's a much better group than it could have been, looking at some of the other groups. And I think Steve Clarke will be quite confident. We've got a really good squad. We've got a really good manager there. The first game being at home, I think, will massively help. There'll be a good atmosphere. So, yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with it. I genuinely think Scotland have got a good chance here. And, we've played Croatia before. They're a good side. But I don't think that group should give Scotland any fear at all.
Regan, what do you think of that? Very exciting, isn't it? Going to the Euros, but also you know that you've got the Nations League to look forward to in September.
Aye, it's great, Michael. It's a great birthday present in September for myself, and it's just good to see Ronaldo and Lewandowski and Modric at Hampden, because these are the games we want to play in. I mean, okay, it's actually showed good progression for Scotland as well. That we're in the number one section for the Nations League, which is they call the
A1
section. So I think in terms of Steve Clarke, he knows it's going to be a tough challenge, but we need to remember that we got there on merit as well. So it's not as if we're going in there and we're going, oh, this team's no capable. We know we can beat the teams we've done it with Denmark. And we beat Norway as well, and Norway have got the best striker on the planet. So, and they've got probably one of the best midfielders in Martin Odegaard. So I think when you take it all in, I think it's a good draw, like we said there.
There you go, Graham. I don't know if you heard Mr. Stevens there saying a wee hint. It's his birthday in September, so if you want to send your birthday cards now, it might get there by September. I might just
He's
post
the-
it I might just post it the day after as well, so that you can get it by Christmas as well. Good evening to Paul Donaldson on YouTube. I would be interested to hear your views on not only last week's game, but the game against Rangers and Neil Warnock, because I listened to him today and I just love that guy when he speaks and and all that. So we'll get on to the Aberdeen game later on. Okay, so the subject of the week would be blue cards, and I don't know if you saw Brendan Rodgers' press conference today, Reagan, right? But he said that you can't have blue cards without having green cards in the west of Scotland.
No, I didn't see Brendan Rodgers' press conference, but I know exactly what he's meaning there. He's just having a little bit of a joke and stuff like that. But I think these blue suspensions are a bit strange because this could happen multiple times. I mean, what happens if we're playing, say for instance, we're playing a World Cup final and a guy gets sent off for a bit of bad language to the referee? It just ruins the whole spectacle of the match. It's just, and I don't understand what they're trying to do. I get they're trying to set up a new way of thinking, a new incentive, and they're trying to be make things more new and modern. But I don't think that is the way football should evolve, because I think sometimes it's probably going to depend on interpretation again. Because I don't know what you guys feel, but I feel like one referee might call it a yellow card, but then one might call it a blue card. So nobody's going to know what a blue card is. Like, and I heard somebody yesterday talking on the radio saying, well, if you get a blue card and a yellow, that results to red. So there's just no clear indication of what is actually happening.
Graham, it's not been confirmed yet if it's coming into a game. Hopefully not. But do you feel as though football is turning into American football? Sometimes with the amount of rules, sometimes that you would need a rule book just to follow a game of football.
I did a thing on TikTok yesterday, and I did another one on Twitter yesterday. I think it's a really, really bad idea. I mean, officials struggle with yellow cards and red cards at the best of the time, and now we're going to give them blue cards. And something I saw yesterday as well, which I actually quite agree with, and I don't usually tend to agree with Paul Merson, but he made a good point where he basically said that if a player now gets sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes, all that team is going to do is just sit back and defend and then just kind of take their time with everything. I think it's making a mockery of football. It doesn't need this change. You know, I said it last night. The changes are killing football. It was bad enough when VAR came in and they still can't get that right. And now we're giving them blue cards as well. I think it's a joke. We're trying to make it like rugby, and it's not rugby. It's a different sport. Football's an entertainment. Football's about scoring goals, about celebration, of all that kind of stuff. It's not about making changes that don't need to get made. I think it's a ridiculous idea. And I really hope that common sense prevails, and they think, do you know what? Maybe this isn't a great idea. I just don't get it at all. It's a really bad idea.
I think it's a great idea if we move on to the actual football tonight as well. So that's what we're going to do. Anyway, so because obviously it's blue cards, I've just wear something blue tonight on the show. Is that all right, Brendan? Maybe not. Okay, let's kick off with the Scottish Cup tonight. The fourth round. Interesting games all weekend. Starting at Capital, 7:30 kickoff between Morton and Motherwell. Graham, this is an interesting game. I was going to go for this would be a shock game, but I've chosen another few games I'll get on to later on. But what do you think of this game overall? First of all, Dougie Imrie and Morton's doing well at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just get some of the comments as well because we've got a lot of comments coming in. So Mikey, I know who that is as well because he follows me on TikTok. All right, Mikey, pal.
Oh,
And he's a Hibs fan as well. So I actually don't think blue cards is the worst idea because it may stop the refs going to VAR for borderline challenges. Paul Donaldson says, would 2 blue cards mean a red card or a blue card plus a yellow? I'm already confused. Gregor McIntosh, blue cards are simply unnecessary. Paul Donaldson, too many gimmicks. If you look at the golden goal when that was brought in, it didn't last very long, which is a good point. Aslino, evening gent, sin bins are outrageous idea. Mikey, I'm not for it, but going to have positives. Loads of comments here. Aslino, Michael, I think you should be nervous about tomorrow. We're just getting into the Morton game tonight.
Where am I
think
going
he means
tomorrow?
Sunday. I think he
I
means
don't
Sunday.
know why
Just
it's
got the date
gone,
wrong. But no. So you were going to ask about me and Reagan's shock for this round, and I think one of them could be tonight. I'm sorry, Stephen, if you're watching this, mate, but Morton are playing really well. They're 12 unbeaten. They're 4th in the championship. I think Dougie Imrie's got a really good side there. They hammered Dunfermline 5-0 last week. They're at home. This is a tough game for Motherwell. Now, I know they're coming off the back of a great result against Ross Kent in midweek that ended the appointment of Derek Adams. What a shame that is. Not. But yeah, I genuinely think this could be a shock tonight. I think Morton are going to be up for this, and I genuinely would not be surprised if Morton won tonight.
Oh, there you go. Reagan?
For me, that was my shock of the weekend. But I also look at, I don't know if it's an actual shock because I expect Partick Thistle to beat Livingston this weekend. Just because Partick Thistle are playing well in the championship. And
that wouldn't be a shock. Wouldn't be a shock.
Probably no. I probably the other one that I'm looking at is probably Inverness to beat Hibs.
Can you see inside my computer now, Reagan? Because I put that down for my shock as well. So I went for Partick Thistle to beat Livingston, but I don't think that's going to be a massive shock the way Livingston's going at the moment. And big Duncan Ferguson to maybe Hegg, Hibs out the cup as well. That's my second shock of the weekend as well. So get your comments coming in about the shock of the weekend or else who you want to get through to the next round of the cup. Stuart Kettlewell was talking yesterday about the game, and he says, I'm looking forward to this game. Morton's a good team at the moment, but we mean business and we want to get through to the next round. I could see why Graham's saying, Reagan, about this is a cup shot, but I guess feel as though Motherwell was coming off a brilliant win midweek against Ross County, and they'll be up for this game.
Yeah, I mean the kettle is definitely boiled. I mean he's starting to do well the past 2 games, beating Motherwell, beating Ross County. I mean, drawing the Celtic, doing okay in the majority of games, and I think. The big shock for me with Motherwell is Theo Bear, because I thought he was a bang average player last year, but he's really turned out to be a really good astute sign for Motherwell. So I'm glad to see that, and obviously Blair Spittle as well. He's probably up there with probably my second for player of the year this year, because I think for me my player of the year at the moment, Michael, would be Shankland and then Blair Spittle. I don't see any other outstanding players at the moment. I think these two are the standards. So I think if Blair Spittle is playing well, then I think Motherwell do win. But I think Graham's got a good point in terms of Morton are 12 games unbeaten, and they'll definitely fancy their chances as well. I think another thing you need to take into consideration as well is Dougie Imrie. He played in the Lanarkshire Derby in Motherwell. He played for the Ackies, so that could be really interesting also. I'm looking forward to Friday night football.
I could see where you're coming from, Graham, in terms of a shock. But I mean, if the game was at Fir Park, I think you would say Motherwell's won easy. But I'm second guessing you here because I like to do that now and again. But I feel as though that because the game's at Capello and that small, in a very tight park there. And Motherwell's not used to their surroundings, and I mean like the dressing room and we kind of things that we don't see behind the scenes when we're watching it on the TV. So I think that will play into Morton's hands as well a wee bit more.
Yeah, well, I mean, if this game was at Fir Park, Motherwell probably would win. But, a Friday night at Capello, I love the fact that it's still the old-fashioned ground. They've not refurbished it. I love the fact that it is still that old ground. And I genuinely think Morton have got a good chance tonight. Now, if Motherwell were to score first, maybe score early, that might, avoid the nervousness. But I just think Morton have got a great chance tonight. You can't look at the fact that there's 12 games unbeaten. Now, I know folk will say, but it's a championship. But Morton have done very well. They try and play decent football. They try and get the ball down. And I think they've got a chance tonight. And the first goal could be interesting. And the fact that it's on TV tonight as well. The TV have picked that for a reason. Because they think there could be a shock here. And I genuinely think there could be. Now, I might be wrong, of course. But I just think it's going to be difficult for Motherwell tonight. And I just fancy Morton to sneak it tonight.
Regan, do you think if Morton causes an upset, the Knives will be back out for Mr. Kettlewell?
I think Stuart Kettlewell's actually done a good job. I don't think it's a case of he's a bad manager. I know they've got 2 wins in 19, which is no good enough. It just shows you that this season the Scottish Premiership's been a bit up and down. But I don't think Kettlewell's actually done that bad. I think the big difference this year, guys, is probably he's not got Kevin Van Veen. Showed me that all at the time last year it was Blair Spittle, it was Miller, and it was Van Veen. So I think when you take Van Veen out, you only notice it, but then you start to go, well, who else is going to score 19 goals that Van Veen scored last year? They're going to miss that big chance for a lot of goals. So I don't think it's all down to Kettlewell.
Well, we'll see when the teams come out as well. I think that we'll get the team news about 6:30 because it's a 7:30 kickoff. I'm going to miss Coronation Street tonight, but anyway, I'll get on catch up there. By the way, that was, I'm not being funny that I always watch it.
Coronation is actually a good programme.
Yeah. I don't know why Graham's laughing at that. I take offence to that, but yeah, he's too busy on TikTok, and I'm too busy eating Tic Tac. So anyway, yeah. By the way, I was being funny, just in case we'll have people switching off the show. They do that, anyway, I think. So we'll get the team news for you at 6:30 between Motherwell and Morton, and Motherwell at 7:30. Okay. Let's jump in a wee bit or two to the game tomorrow night between, I think it's 11 now, between Philip Clement and Scott Brown, because I don't know if you saw these comments, Scott Brown yesterday and Clement's comments today. It's going to be a wonderful occasion for Scott Brown at Ibrox, actually. Ayr United against Rangers, 5:30 kickoff on Viaplay Sport. Regan, what do you expect from Rangers tomorrow night after that big massive win during the week against Aberdeen?
I think Rangers are on a wave of optimism at the moment. I think the best thing for the club is that they're in the title race, because they probably didn't expect it a few weeks ago. Celtic were 8 points clear, then they were 11 points clear, and then Celtic drew at home to Motherwell, and then the kind of wheels fell off a little bit. And then I think they got beat at Rugby Park. That was followed up by a bad January. And then years ago, they went to Celtic Park against the Jam Parks and 2-0 defeat. So I think in terms of that, what am I expecting from Rangers? expecting them to probably win 2 or 3-0. But I think the added spices there was Scott Brown being there. The one thing I would caveat that with it, because it's championship opposition, I would caveat that and say they'll probably get a little bit tired because I don't know if you've noticed, Michael, but I think the intensity of Rangers the last few weeks has been really good. I think even when they go 1-0 down or they're drawing one each, the intensity from the players is still really good, it's still really high. I mean, at no point the other night did I feel Rangers were going to lose that game because they were they were causing Aberdeen so many problems.
Graham, from an Ayr United point of view, is that obviously we haven't spoke about Scott Brown coming to Ayr United, and I was hoping to get somebody on the show from Ayr United tonight. Obviously, the guy couldn't make it on. But do you think that it's a high profile signing for Ayr United, Scott Brown?
I think it is. Everyone in Scottish football knows who Scott Brown is. They know his name. And I think it's a good appointment. Again, I think he'll do well. They're sitting sixth just now in the Championship. He's got a long way to go in his management career. I think he's still quite a young man in management. So I think he'll do well. And again, on tomorrow, it's a free hit. They can go there. There's no pressure on them. All the pressure's on Rangers. And I think, they'll go there with a game plan to try and make it very difficult, sit very deep. Probably what you expect from like a Livingston type of team, to be honest. But I think United will go there with absolutely no fear. Now, Paul Donaldson says, we'd love to see a shock there and one or both of the Old Firm being knocked out, but realistically not going to happen. Certainly not in this round, I don't think. Although, to be fair, St Mirren could beat Celtic with Celtic are playing, but for Scott Brown tomorrow, it'll be a big occasion for him. And I'm sure he'll get a very good reception for the Rangers fans.
Yeah, no, exactly. Especially before Valentine's Day as well. That's a nice present.
I don't think there'll be any love there, even though Scott Brown says he's got so much love for Rangers. So
yeah,
I think he's playing mind games there.
They should get to play the song Elton John when the team's coming out. Can you feel the love tonight? Anyway, Philip Clement said today at his press conference, it will be a good challenge. It will be a good challenge for us to show the quality we've got, but we need to show some respect. Meanwhile, Scott Brown was talking yesterday about the game. He said this game will be a great experience for the guys and for the club. You want to play against good teams, and we just need to believe in ourselves. That's the thing. Them, I think Ayr United will go there with a kind of so-called game plan about keep it tight for the first maybe about 15-20 minutes and all that, and try and upset the fans.
Yeah, it's about playing the game in stages. Try and get to certain points in the game and try and keep it tight. If they lose the opening goal and they lose an early goal, then they could be in for a rough day. But do you know what? Like I said, it's no pressure on Scott Brown and his team tomorrow. They can go there and just relax. All the pressure's off them. Listen, if they were to get a result, it would be a massive, massive shock. But it's not going to happen. Rangers are playing well. They're full of confidence. I watched them on Tuesday against Aberdeen. I thought they deserved to win the game. They were the better side pretty much all through the game. They had that one moment when Majowski got through and scored. But apart from that, I thought Rangers were totally dominant. So I think it'll be exactly the same tomorrow. But there's no pressure on Scott Brown. And he knows that as well.
And in saying that, I don't know who will get the warm reception tomorrow night, Reagan. Scott Brown or the man in the middle, what they call him?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a disgrace, to be honest, that Rangers put that team in, because as much as we berate referees everywhere we seem to go these days, I think for the club to come out there and point fingers at the referee, I just feel was wrong, especially when Scotland is a small place, and then as well we need to remember that this referee's doing a day job. he's also working at different things with what he's doing. So I just feel like that sometimes we need to be careful what we wish for here. You know, we've got a small pool of referees, and we just need to be honest with ourselves and say, look, sometimes they make mistakes. He never thought it was a handball, which it wasn't, but it needs to be better overall with VAR. Because I think even you look to the VAR on Tuesday night with Rangers, I thought that was a definite red card, and then you had Clary Miller saying he wasn't sure. Well, everything's all down to interpretation. You know what I mean? People are saying, "Oh, that's a red card," and then some people are saying, "No, it's not." So everything in Scottish football is down to interpretation.
The Anna Lino makes a comment. Your predictions, keep them coming in. He said, my predictions for the last gate will be Morton, Hibs, Livingston, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, Rangers, St Mirren, and Hearts. So there you go.
Oh,
So there you go. Got to pad the power off about you now and put in a bit. But yeah, I mean, Graham, I mean, just kind of like touching upon that subject about what they call them. I mean, clubs should never like write to the SFA, whether that's the SFA, the FA, whatever association, and say we demand this guy not to ref the game, because then, you know, then you're going to have Hearts coming out of the game, Dundee, Hibs, so the SFA's done a good job there to stand up there and say, no, we're the authorities. We'll tell you who will be in charge of the game. So I was quite pleased to see what they call them on that game tomorrow night.
What did Rangers expect was going to happen when they did that? Seriously, did they actually think the SFA was going to go, that's fine, you can pick and choose who you want to referee? Yeah, grit, man. Seriously. I mean, honestly, if every club did that, we wouldn't have referees. And it wasn't that long ago, remember, we had a referee strike when referees got called into question. We had referees from abroad. Now, don't get me wrong, for the games that were there, they were fine, but that's not what you want. You know, referees, yes, they make mistakes. I don't think VAR has helped them, because it is still the same officials that are still making the same mistakes. But you can't start going around saying, we don't want this guy to referee us. You just can't do that. So, fair play to the guys for standing up and saying, no, we're not going to do that. And the fact he'll be there tomorrow. Now, again, I suppose the thing for Willie Collum tomorrow is, and no disrespect to Ayr United, but there's not a lot of pressure on this game. So it's not really going to matter how he handles it. It should be fine. There shouldn't be any real controversy. But it'll be when he referees a big game for Rangers, that'll be starting scrutiny. I don't think tomorrow will make a massive difference. But you can't start saying who you want to referee games, because that's set to a dangerous precedent. I thought it was a bad idea, and I don't know what they thought was going to happen when they did that.
Looking at Ayr United, Regan, things are looking up for them, because obviously they've got a big kind of cup final tomorrow, i.e. lots of money coming their way. But also they've got Scott Brown, and also they're building a new stand at Somerset Park. So they must be fancying the chances for if not this season, but next season.
It feels like Ayr United are really they've got new owners, they've got new backing, they've got a fresh manager and Scott Brown. So it seems a really fresh approach, and it's actually refreshing to see Scottish clubs being a bit progressive and innovative and trying to move forward, because sometimes you've got the clubs in the third division that are just happy to stay in there. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's great to see you there, because you want to see as many clubs as possible. And if you look at Ayr, I mean, it'd be great to see Ayr go up to the Premier League and play against our local rivals. I mean, that'd be great as well. So, yeah, I mean, all the best to Scott Brown.
Yeah, Scott Brown and Stephen Whittaker. Well, I think one of them will get a warm reception, Graham. I'll leave that to you guys to figure that out. It's not too difficult. Even I can work that one out. And I know that. So that's that game tomorrow at 5:30. Do you think that, Rangers went into the game against Aberdeen, and obviously they kind of like celebrated it as though it was a kind of cup final in itself, if you know what I mean. And it'll be even a bigger one on Wednesday night when if they beat Ross County, they go top of the league.
Well, I think Tuesday was a massive game because they knew that to win that game, they go joint top. And it was a big, big game for them. You know, the fact that Neil Warnock had his first game for Aberdeen going to Ibrox, it was a big, big game for Rangers. And I thought, like I said, they were the better team all the way through. Deserved to win the game. I think they could have won by a couple more, to be honest. So it was a massive win for them. So I can understand why they treated it the way they did, because they had to win that game. You know, if they dropped points there with Celtic going to Easter Road the next day, you know, it could have been more difficult for them. But they got the win that they deserved. Obviously, they've had to then watch on Wednesday as Celtic got that late win in the end. But the title race is massively on now, and I don't think anyone would have thought that weeks ago. Celtic have completely dropped off. Rangers are in great form. You know, Philip Clement seems to have got a team that he's got them settled. They're playing decent stuff. They're looking a threat going forward. I mean, what he's done to Cyril Dessers, I do not know, because he looks like a goal scorer now, which I didn't think was possible weeks ago. So he's done well to turn that round, and the title race is definitely on, and they could easily, I don't think they will, but they could potentially win a treble this season. They've already got the League Cup in the bag. They could win the League and Scottish Cup. So, I mean, what an occasion that would be for Philip Clement. But they can only take it game at a time, and tomorrow they should really not have any issues tomorrow.
Regan, let's move on now to the Sunday games. Of course, there's a few games on Sunday. We'll come to Graham's beloved Hearts in a minute or two. And good to see Craig Gordon signing a new deal. And by the way, if he gets on the plane for the Euro, that'll be some season for Craig Gordon as well. We'll come to that in a minute or two. Sunday, 2 o'clock kickoffs at Millen Park. St Mirren, fun enough, that's why it's called St Mirren Park. Are playing Celtic again. That's on Viaplay as well. Regan, we've not saw you for a few weeks or a few months on the show. What have you thought of Celtic the last couple of games?
Like Graham was saying, there's been a big drop off in Celtic. It's been disappointing to watch. I mean, you'll get the game on Wednesday night. I better not say Tuesday. Michael pulled me up, but
I thought it was last night. But there you go.
You look at the game on Wednesday, where Celtic go to Easter Road and they don't go there full of confidence. Brendan Rodgers has never won at Easter Road before, and they've got that pressure as well. I thought it was really strange that he didn't play Kyogo, but now I'm starting to come around to the fact that Brendan Rodgers is more of a kind of target man striker. That's what he kind of liked when he was first here with Odsonne Edouard and Mr. Dembele. That was the kind of player that he liked, that kind of strong guy that can hold the ball up. And I think maybe it's to bring more of the wide players in. I don't know, I was just genuinely disappointed on Wednesday with the whole output. I thought the new German guy, Nicholas, didn't think he was up to much. I was really happy with Tony Ralston, and I thought Joe Hart stood up really well for the first time in a while. So I think when you look at Celtic, I think they're more than capable of winning this competition, and they're more than capable of winning the title. But it's just a case of trying to keep the momentum going. Because sorry, Michael, I was just going to say, because before the winter break, they got the 4 wins in a row. They beat Rangers, they went to St Mirren, they went
Livingston.
and then they went to Dundee as well. And then there was like a pause, and I don't know if that's just jolted them a little bit, where they thought, okay, we've got a few weeks break here, but now it's back to even Steven, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Regan, do you feel as though that, and I know we've all seen it on social media, Celtic is that fans basically not slagging off the board, but basically getting onto the board for not signing players. And obviously last Saturday against Aberdeen, they had the big banner there at Picogler, and that must put off the team when you see that. But forget that the window's shut now. You've got, what is it, 14 games or maybe more until the end of the season. Is it a case of backing the team for you and then and then speak about the board at the end of the season? Because if you speak about the board now, that's going to put the team off on the park.
I do agree with that. I think now the transfer window's shut, because for me, I would have sold Leo Lamada and I would have sold a few others. I think the whole board situation is a bad one for the club, because you look at like you said there, Michael, nobody was asking the club to go and spend 15 million. They were asking the club to go and spend 5 million or 4 million on a player. So I think now the window's shut, everybody can just focus on the football, and we can hope that Celtic really step on and can win this Scottish Cup.
Graham, as a kind of outsider, basically, looking into this wee fishbowl that we've got in the West Central Scotland, are you surprised with the way that the Celtic fans are going over the top? I mean, I saw the show last week with you and Stephen, and you mentioned the word spoiled a few times on the show, and I would maybe have to disagree with you there. But what did you mean about the spoiled?
All you've got to do is look at the last few seasons how much Celtic have won. They've pretty much won nearly every single trophy. They've been dominant in the league for the last number of years. They've had a really good manager in Ange Postecoglou, who obviously left. They bring in Brendan Rodgers. Maybe his style of football isn't quite the same as it was previously, but they are still top of the league. They are still in the Scottish Cup, obviously. Yeah. I know they didn't do well in the League Cup, but I just think that Celtic fans are just getting so used to success. The minute there is a challenge, they're not happy. Mm-hmm. All I've got to do is look back to the game at Celtic Park when Hearts played them. Celtic fans were saying, sack the board. Now, you weren't saying that weeks and weeks ago, or months and months ago, when you're top of the league quite comfortably. I just think, for me, Celtic fans, especially the younger generation, they have been brought up on success. When things don't go their way, they start to moan about it. And I just think you've got to take it. I said this before, and I'm not going to make apologies for it. I've said it before. Celtic fans could not handle supporting Hearts, Hibs, St Mirren, Motherwell, who don't win every week. Now, listen, I get it. Celtic are a massive club, as are Rangers. But I just kind of think, take a bit of a step back. You're still top. You've still got a good side there. You can still win the league. That's what I mean by, I just think Celtic fans are too spoiled, because they've had it their own way for so long. The minute there's a challenge, the toys go out the pram. That's what I meant. And I stick by that.
I kind of agree with Graham's point when he puts it that way, Regan, because obviously if you look at years going past, I'm talking about maybe when we weren't even thought of, like, the locker room was, what? Back in the 50s, that Celtic didn't win anything, yet the fans were going every week. But I think Graham's right. I mean, I think we've got a new generation of fans that, I mean, look at how many managers has been sacked, and obviously you've got Derek Haggins, you might have Nick Montgomery coming up and whatever. I mean, you just have to look at the manager that's been sacked last season as well. Scott Brown might be under pressure certainly enough, Do you think football fans are a bit fickle sometimes, and they should really kind of like step back and take the good times and the bad times as well?
I think that's but I think that's part of social media and TikTok and stuff like that, because like, I don't know, maybe that whole generation, like you say, everybody's so used to reacting as soon as the game finished, whereas back in the day it was just a case of, like, we'll see the local newspaper on a Monday and that'll be it. But then now you've got everything. You can go on Facebook, you can go on Twitter, you can bring your frustration at the club. So I think I get Graham's point to an extent, right? But then you say to yourself, why would you bring a manager into Scottish football like Brendan Rodgers and no back him in the January window? You know, why would a club with 71 million do that to themselves? You know, they knew that Greg Taylor was injured for 4 weeks and they still never brought a left back in. And they knew that Abada wanted to go. They never brought in another winger to let Abada go. So they keep Abada at the club, and Abada is not engaging with the club. He's not engaging with the fans. You know, I just feel like sometimes they need to open their eyes and see what is actually going on. I agree with Graham's point in the fact that Celtic have won 12 titles in the last 13, but I think there's still problems there at the boardroom that possibly sometimes all they think about is trying to finish that, like maybe a point ahead of Rangers, and that's not a good attitude. You know, Michael. I don't know. I don't know how much people pour into Celtic, but obviously I've not got a season ticket like that, Michael. But I'm just saying, for people that have got season tickets and all they're getting back is a guy on loan from Norwich, and they've not got a first team left back that Brendan Rodgers trusts. Yeah, I just think that's a little bit short change as well.
Where
I'm just going to go through some of these comments because I get a lot of comments in, so I don't want to miss anything. So, Greg McIntosh says Dundee will win 2-0 against St Johnstone on Sunday. Aslino says, not kidding, boys. St Mirren are in stunning form suddenly. They totally dominate the last 2 games. 13 shots to 6 and 5 on target to 1, playing away style with Hibs having 61% possession. He also says 19 shots to 4 and 6 to 0 on target v Dundee, competing home style with 51 possession for the Buddies. Celtic appear to be struggling to score. Sad journey home from Paisley for the boys. Paul Donaldson says, I was at the Aberdeen Celtic game last weekend, saw the banner and heard their fans singing sack the board. They really don't seem happy at the moment, even though they're top of the league, which is kind of what I was suggesting. And as we know, also says, which is kind of the point I was trying to make, they're spoiled the same way some Waynes are. Now, this is kind of the point I was making to Stephen last week. I just think at times you've just got to take a step back and look at the fact that Celtic are still top. Yes, they're not playing well, and I get Reagan's point about the fact that why would they not kind of back the manager? I get all that, but at the moment they are still top. There's a long way to go in this title race, so I just think you've got to take a step back a little bit.
I kind of disagree with Graham a wee bit, Reagan. I don't know how you feel about this, being a fan of the Big Two in Glasgow. But and take the finance side out of it for a minute, right? Just purely look at it from a Celtic and Rangers point of view. And I know why Glenn was saying and Stephen was saying last week, right, they're spoiled, they win every week. But is that not up to other teams as well to close the gap? And they always go on about youth academies and all that, but who's coming through at these kind of clubs as well? As I say, take the finance out of it, right? But you know, that's what youth academies were set up for players to come through. I kind of see where Graham's coming from a wee bit, but I mean, you know, obviously you've got to close that gap a wee bit as well, Reagan.
I think you made a good point, Michael, in terms of, see, the lower league, for example, guys, the lower league, Celtic B are in it, Rangers B are in it, and Hearts B. But these guys are not progressing into the first team, you know. And I don't know where Hearts are sitting, Graham, but the last time I checked, Celtic were 6th in the table. So what are these guys actually learning from this experience? What are they gaining from playing middle of the road professionals? You know, I don't know if you agree, but see the reserve league years ago, that's probably a better thing because you had not that I'm saying these guys like Stephen Craigie were great players, but you had these guys playing in reserve matches where you thought, right, we're going to get a proper game here. Whereas Celtic B, you've got the only one that's really come out of it is Rocco Va, but he doesn't really want to stay there. And you could probably say, Michael, that I can't really blame these players for not staying in Scotland because they're not seeing the pathway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because unless a manager wants to take a chance, But as we've seen with Derek Adams, we've seen with all sorts of managers, a lot of managers don't want to take a chance anymore. They don't want to. They don't want to take that because if they take that risk, then that could lose them their job.
See the point that Michael you made there a minute ago about that it's up to the teams to close the gap. This is what I mean though. The minute another team beat Celtic, the toys go at the pram. Look what happened at Hearts. Look at what happened at the Hearts game. Sack the board. The minute another team actually does well against Celtic, the fans start going mental. So you can't win either way. You know, the minute our Celtic fans are talking about the fact there's no competition in Scotland, and I get that, I do get that, but the minute somebody actually does challenge them, the toys go at the pram. You can't have it both ways.
I don't.
I think that was more down to the recruitment game. It wasn't down to another team defeating the club. I think Rangers and Celtic would actually enjoy the competition more if both clubs actually played well against them. I just think I'm not going to say that Brendan Rodgers is box office. He's a very good manager, right? But I'm just saying for Brendan Rodgers to come back up to Scotland, to spend all his time here with his family, and to get a player on loan and get a player for £1 million, I think I don't know. I just think it's a little bit cheap for me.
We could speak about this all night, but we're not going to because there's a game on at 7:30 and I've got Coronation Street to watch later on. By the way, that's a joke to me. East Anglia is not on Reagan, that's a Friday night. So what do you think of this game on Sunday? Obviously, the last game Celtic went to St Mirren Park, that was one of Celtic's better performances of the season, you would say. Do you think that they'll go into this game? Well, obviously, they've got to go into this game positive because obviously the last minute win against the Hibs at Easter Road.
Yeah.
But St Mirren will also be up for the game as well. So it's going to be quite interesting.
They will be. I don't know if you know, Graham, you're the encyclopedia here, but does this game go to extra time or does it go to a replay?
No, I'll go to extra time and penalty.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling it's extra penalties, I think.
Yep. And I don't know if there'll be VAR this game because Mirren would have to buy it in. I have a feeling the only game that will have VAR. By the way, I wouldn't have any VAR in the game if it's no in. If it's in one game, it shouldn't be in any game until the semi-final or the final. But I have a feeling, Graham, that the only place you'll find VAR tomorrow night will be at the 11 between Scott Brown and Philip Clement at Ibrox.
Probably. I don't think there'll be VR at other grounds because I don't think they can actually afford VR. So I get it, but this is where I've got a problem because I think you either don't have VR in all the games or you do have it in all the games. So I just think to have VR at like one game and not all of them, and I do get it, it's about the costs and stuff, but I just think it's not a great thing for me. The fact that some games have it and some games don't, it's not a great look.
Reagan, Brendan Rodgers was talking about the game today. He says we need to show the form we found the last time we were there. And then they went on to say, but we need to be ready for this game. And it doesn't matter if we play home or away, we want to win the cup. And we have to win it anywhere. And I suppose that's right. He would want the game to be at Parkhead, right? But, it doesn't matter if it's home or away. If he wants to be in that cup final in May, he needs to win it at away games as well.
Yeah, like you said, St Mirren are playing well now. They've got some really good players in form, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to predict that it's going to go to extra time.
Oh.
Extra time, and I really don't know who's going to win. It's a toss of a coin for me, because I think that Celtic are playing well, but then you looked at the game against Hibs. I didn't think they created much. They passed the ball between Scales and Welsh quite a little bit. They never really created much. I know when Kyogo come on, he got that penalty, but I mean, for a Celtic fans' point of view, I mean, thank God they got the penalty because they dropped another 2 points behind in the title race. So I think this game could be interesting because fair play to Stephen Robinson. He's done a very good job this season.
Graham, St Mirren can't afford to start the game the way they started against Celtic because or else they would have found themselves getting beat before half time. So do you think that they will approach this game? Because I mean, this is I know this is a bit weird me saying this, but this is like St Mirren's Cup final.
Words you're hearing a lot more now. Penalty Celtic. Who'd have thought that? But yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. But no, I think St Mirren will be up for this game. You know, they were fantastic at East Road last week, scoring 3 goals. They could have had more. I thought they were great last week. They then beat Dundee in midweek, and again, I think it was deserved. Although for me, the sending off in midweek was never a sending off in a million years. Don't know what the referee's watching on that. It's never a red card. But St Mirren will be up for this. It'll be a decent game of football, I think. When St Mirren played Rangers a couple of weeks ago, I thought they were a bit unlucky not to get something out of the game. So I think, as Reagan said, Robinson's done a great job. This is going to be a huge game for both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if Reagan's right and it goes to extra time and penalties because this is a huge, huge game. I think Celtic might just sneak it, but they're going to have to play a lot better than they have been because, and I keep on saying this every show. Now, I know he wasn't playing on Wednesday night. He didn't start, but again, they're not getting the best out of Kyogo. They need to do something to change the way they play it to get him involved in the game because he's nowhere near the player he was. I think Adam Idah, again, he was a signing that a lot of Celtic fans didn't want, but he's now got a couple of goals in the second penalty on Wednesday, to be fair. That was a big penalty. There was massive pressure on him to score that, and he took it very well. So he could be a decent signing for Celtic, but I think something will be up for this. And again, it'll be a bit more like if they can keep it tight, you know, stop Celtic playing, stop the big players playing like Callum McGregor and stuff, they've got a chance. I genuinely think St Mirren have got a good chance here, but I think Celtic might just sneak it, but it'll be like 2-1. It'll be very close.
Reagan, do you think Celtic is missing Carter Vickers?
I think any club would miss Carter Vickers, might go it. But to answer your point on that, but yeah, I think he's a stalwart in the middle of the defence. I think now that they've got the Rocky, it's good because I don't know if you agree, but I thought Phillips come up to Scotland and he didn't really impress. Sorry, Graham, but I know you're a big Liverpool fan as well. So I thought he come up to Scotland and he didn't bless himself in glory. But I think in terms of Carl Vickers, he's a stalwart in that team. And I remember being on a show last year and saying to you guys, it's been 35 games and Starfelt and Vickers have no lost a game yet. And that just showed you how important it is to get that centre-back partnership going. Because if you get that partnership going, then that breeds confidence in the team because they go, well, we can go forward because we've got 2 big centre-halves at the back and we can rely on them.
Can I just jump in there, by the way, because I've got breaking news. So this has just been reported on Twitter by Barry Anderson, who's just posted this. The outcry in football seems to have had an effect. Plans to introduce blue cards have been postponed for now after talks between the IFAB and FIFA. So that's just come out in the last few minutes there.
There you go. Happy weekend, folks. So we just spent 2 minutes speaking about blue card for nothing. There you go. Brilliant. So there you go. So that's the game of the weekend. Celtic and St Mirren and Celtic. 2:00 kickoff on Viaplay. Right. Okay. Let's go on to speak about another big game at 5:00 on BBC One. This time, it's Airdrie against Hearts. And before I talk about this game, Graham, I mean, Craig Gordon, the story gets better and better for him, signing a new deal, and he might be at the Euros as well.
Absolutely fantastic. You know, they had that double leg break in 2022, and a lot of folk thought he wouldn't come back, and he's come back, and I was delighted he signed that new deal yesterday. He'll obviously want to get back to being number one again, which I get because he wants to be in that Euro squad, but I just think he's 41 now. An extended deal, I think maybe after that deal runs out, he might go into coaching, I don't know. But I'm delighted to see him back. Honestly, it's been brilliant. He started against Spartans. I think there's a very good chance he might actually start on Sunday as well. I don't think his undercut's done a lot wrong. He's a good goalkeeper, but for me, I think Craig Gordon might start on Sunday. But honestly, it's fantastic. So pleased to see him back.
The only thing I would say, Graham, is I think it'll be a tough test because they're playing well and all in the championship. So
no, they are. I've said that already.
Again, I think it's the same situation as tonight, Regan. Like if the game was at Tynecastle, you would fancy Hearts to, win 5-0 or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I might score 5 on Sunday, but I know why Regan's saying that because Graham, the game's away from home.
Yeah, I do have a bit of trepidation about this game. Airdrie are 7 games unbeaten. They've got a really good squad there. They've got a guy, Nikolai Todorov, up front, who's a good striker. Rhys McCabe likes to try and play good football. It's going to be a difficult surface. It is on AstroTurf, but it's a difficult surface. This game does fill me with a bit of trepidation. Of course, it's a game we should win because we're 10 games unbeaten. We've got, for me, Regan talks about the best striker in the world playing at Hampden in Erling Haaland. No, he's not. Lawrence Shank is the best striker in the world. Of course he is. But no, I just think it's a big game for both teams. This game, and I look back at last game against Spartans, we were the better team, but it took us late on to win the game. So this game does give me a bit of fear. I think you're right, Michael. If the game's at Tynecastle, I think we'll win the game quite comfortably. But the fact that it's away from home, it just brings that little bit more trepidation. But it's a game I'm looking forward to, and hopefully we can win. The other thing as well is that I didn't realise until a couple of days ago, the draw is actually before the game. The draw's at 4:30. So we're going to know by the time we play who we've got in the next round if we get through. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there you go.
There you go. You might have saw Regan Skimmings dropping off there, but so thanks for Regan to join us. Yeah, so well done, Graham. That sets me up nicely because we've got a show after the game on Sunday. So looking back in all the games and have a draw on the show, but on from 7 a bit late on Sunday night. So set your alarm clock as well. 7 o'clock on Sunday night. Cancel the bingo, guess what's us? We are better laugh actually. And we're joined by Mr. Rosyth himself, Stephen Rosyth on Sunday as well. And let's hope Motherwell wins, Graham, tonight, or else it'll be some show. But Airdrie's going well at the moment against Rhys McCabe as well. But I think the point I was trying to make there was if the game was at Tynecastle, you would say, well, maybe it'll be 4-5, and Oils, as I say, maybe it'll be 4-5 on Sunday, but just away from home in the plastic park and all the rest of it. But I mean, I think that Hearts will win, but it will be a difficult game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything for granted. And this is why I did a thing on TikTok earlier on as well, where I said my suggested team for Sunday, and I wouldn't be making many changes. I would bring Craig Gordon back in and probably George Grant, but apart from that, I think we have to go strong. And given what I've seen from Stephen Naismith earlier on today, he is going to go strong. He's treating Airdrie with respect, which I think he should do. So yeah, it's a difficult game. It will be a difficult game. Of course, it's a game that I think we should be winning because it's a championship team we're up against. But I'm also aware of the fact that Airdrie have already knocked out St Johnstone at home. So that brings its own kind of trepidation, but hopefully we can get through. And, I don't think I can say any more superlatives about Lawrence Shankland. On Wednesday, again, it wasn't a great game at McDermott Park, but it just takes that one bit of quality, and Shankland's got it. 22 for the season now, 50 in 79 games for Hearts. He has been a sensational signing. And the thing is, when he first signed for Hearts, a lot of Hearts fans didn't think he was going to be good enough. He's been phenomenal. And We've had good strikers in the past, but for me, he is easily the best striker since John Robertson. He's so clinical. He might not be in a game for it well, but it just takes one chance. And I've said it numerous times before. You've said it as well. Reagan said it. Stephen said it. He has to be on that plane to Germany. He just has to be, because he's the best striker Scotland have got.
We spoke about this before, Graham, right? And how kind of annoyed and concerned we were about Ronald Shankland not being in the Scotland squad. He comes on and scores a goal, and the next game he's a sub and he never gets on. But in a way, see when you think about it, right? See if Craig Gordon does make the Euros, and obviously he plays a few games for Hearts, we've got working Ronald Shankland's favour a wee bit, because you're thinking, well, if Stevie Clark is picking Gordon in the place for Hearts, why can they not play Ronald Shankland? Now, I know that Craig Gordon's get more experience than him. I get that, but I mean, I just feel as though that, you know, he plays for Hearts, both of them plays for Hearts, and, you know, if he pits Gordon and not Shankland, then you would be thinking, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I like Steve Clark, and I think he's done a great job, but his lack of playing time that Lawrence Shankland gets, I just don't understand it. Now, again, I know that Steve Clark is loyal to guys like Dykes and Adams, and I get that they offer something a bit different, but what they don't offer is a goal-scoring threat. You know, Che Adams works the channels, he runs about a lot. Lyndon Dykes has that hold-up play, but we don't have that clinical finisher that all you need is one chance and he'll take it. Lawrence Shankland does that, and he has to be on that plane. Now, all Shankland can do is keep scoring goals and keep doing what he's doing. And I've said it before, Shankland's all-round game is brilliant. The only thing Shankland lacks is pace, but his physical strength, he scores goals, his link-up play is great, his hold-up play is really good, his awareness to bring folk into the game. Shankland's game is brilliant, and he's got goals in him. He's in the form of his life just now, and he has to be on that plane. But for me, I'm just delighted the form he's got, because folk have said it before. You know, if it wasn't for Shankland, where would Hearts be just now? We probably wouldn't be third, because he's scored 22 goals this season, which is pretty much most of our goals. So yeah, I'm just so pleased. And this is why I said to Stephen last week as well that I was so glad that January window shut and Shankland was still here, because that's all I wanted was him to still be here. What happens after that in the summer, if he goes, he goes. Can't control that. But I'm just delighted to see you just now, and I think he will now probably end up beating. And I think I've seen something in Barry Anderson's column the other day as well, where his next kind of aim is to beat John Robertson's 30 in a season record. If he keeps going the way he is, he'll beat it, because he's just in phenomenal form.
Do you agree with me, Graham, as well, that he doesn't need pace, Ronald Shankland, because as long as he gets service at the end of the day?
No, it's a fair point. You know, I think it would be great if he did have a pace to get away for defenders, but he doesn't at times really need that. He's physical. You know, all he needs is that one chance. Wednesday night, he wasn't in the game. You know, Hearts weren't really creating a lot. There wasn't a lot in terms of quality. I didn't think there would be. And there's just one ball over the top from Frankie Kent. It's brilliant play by Shankland. Takes it down, beats McGowan, and it's a great finish. And that's all it takes. I look back at the game against Hibs at Easter Road. Again, not a lot of quality in the game, but again, one long punt from Xander Clark and Shankland scores. That's all it takes, is that one bit of quality, and he's got that. And I'm just... This is what annoys me most on Twitter. You keep having these debates about who's the better striker. You know, Shankland or Majowski. Can we not just enjoy the fact that we've got two really good strikers in the league and they don't play for one of the old firm? Why does it have to be a debate of who's better? I just think we've got two really good strikers in the league and we should enjoy them while they're here.
Stephen Naismith was talking to the media today, I think it was, and he said it's going to be a cracking cup tie, rise and wait for the Heart for Hearts on Sunday, and it's going to be the TV cameras are going to be there as well, so they'll be expecting an upset, but we are not going to go there in that frame of mind. We're hoping to win the game and proceed to the next round of the cup, because I mean Hearts deserve a good cup run, as well. You were mentioning about Rodney Chatton as well, Graham, but yeah, I mean, looking forward to the game. 5 o'clock kickoff. I'm happy about that because you don't see many Scottish games on at 5 o'clock. I think the last time it was a 5 o'clock kickoff, I was at school.
No, and it is good. And I've always said that I love the Scottish Cup. It's been part of my life for a long, long time. Probably same as a lot of folk that watch this show. It's a big occasion. You're always looking for that kind of David versus Goliath game. Hopefully this one isn't it. Hopefully it's not a massive cup shot, but I'm looking forward to it. And I should as well point out the fact that today we extended the contract of young Macaulay Tate, an 18-year-old who's had a really big effect on the team. I'm delighted with it. He signed till 2020. He signed a 4-year deal. And I'm really pleased with that because the games that he's played, he's been fantastic. He shows a lot of awareness. He doesn't hide. He wants the ball all the time. He came on against Dundee when we were getting beat 2-0 and he changed the game. So, you and Reagan talked about earlier about young players coming through. For me, Macaulay Tate, anytime I've seen him, looks a really good player. And I'm delighted we got this guy on a long-term contract because I think he's going to be an absolute star.
Also, Stephen Naismith said that a lot of credit will have to go to Reese. He's similar to myself. He's probably took the job earlier than most people would expect him to. He's probably doing the part work is together in the sense that he is coaching and skill playing as well. So, Graham, that's a very difficult thing to do. Not that I've been in that position, obviously, but to still play football and to coach a team as well.
Yeah, I mean, some fair play. He's done a brilliant job. He's only 31. He's probably looking to maybe try and play for another few years, which he probably could. But, a lot of folk probably looked at it and thought, is this going to work? But it has. And he's got this Airdrie team playing a really good style of football. I like the fact that he's got a philosophy that he sticks to. He likes to try and get the ball down. He likes to try and pass it. A lot of teams don't tend to do that, especially young managers coming out of the game. But I think he's done a great job. And this is why I've got a bit of trepidation for Sunday because it's going to be a very difficult game. I'm under no illusion of that. But hopefully we should have enough quality to win the game. We've got a really strong bench. We've got players back as well from the Asian Cup. Nat Atkinson and Rowe should be back. We've got a strong bench, so we should win it. But I can't not give credit to Rhys McCabe because he's done a great job at Airdrie. He's done a really good job. So this is a tough game, a really tough game. I'm
going to put you on a spot, Graham. What do you think the score will be? I have a feeling. I know that's going to be an away win.
Yeah, I've kind of stuck to this prediction all week, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to say 2-1 Hearts. And again, I just want to point out as well, I'm actually really impressed with Alan Forrest recently. I think he's been great. Yeah. Again, he got that long-term contract. I genuinely think he's one of the most underrated players at Hearts. Never stops, always gives everything. I think he's been fantastic.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you because obviously when he was at Livy, he was scoring for fun every week as well. And I think he missed a brilliant chance in person Wednesday night as well. But yeah, I mean, it's good well for Hearts over this season as well. So that's the game on Sunday. 5 o'clock kickoff on the old BBC on BBC One, and we'll be on after that game at 7 o'clock. Let's go to one of my shocks of the weekend. Or is it really a shock, Graham? Packet Thistle against Livingston. I think it will be a bigger shock. Well, I don't know if it'll be a shock overall because the game that Fihill as well. But what do you think of this game as well? David Martindale was talking about the game today. It's a weird one because obviously that we speak about managers not having a long time in the game with the one. They don't win 5, they're out quicker than the P45. But it just goes to show you, because I know that we've been speaking off here as well, that it goes to show that, was it 13 games they've not won and they're still there?
Well, it's 17 league games they've not won. And I think they were a little bit unfortunate with Kilmarnock. I think they could have got a point out of that game. And I can tell that David Martindale was not happy that they didn't get something out of the game. But I don't think, for me, this would be a massive shock. And I don't think anyone would think it's a massive shock if Partick win. Partick on the good side, they've already hammered Ross County away from home in the Cup. I don't think this will be a massive shock. Partick are 5-1 beaten. And again, they've got quality at wide. Aidan Fitzpatrick and Stephen Lawless. They've got a guy that scored 10 goals and Brian Graham up front as well. This wouldn't be a shock. And I think Livingston fans going to this game will be they'll be nervous because I think they'll be expecting a defeat here, which I understand. Livingston have been in such poor form. You know, I think I said weeks ago they're going to go down. I just don't see enough quality on that side. David Martindale again just sounds quite downbeat, which I understand. And yeah, you know, normally if you're on a really bad run, you'd expect to get sacked. But I suppose if Stephen was here, he would look at Stuart Kettlewell. They were 15 games without a win, didn't get sacked. So I suppose in a way, I like the fact that the chairman and that are sticking with their appointment and they're not, you know, making a knee-jerk reaction. But you've got to wonder, what's it going to take for Martindale to get sacked? Because 17 games without a win is a ridiculous record. And I think that's going to be extended tomorrow because I genuinely don't think Partick will win that game. And I think they might win it quite comfortably as well because Livingston just look a really poor side.
I think the only reason why David Martindale's not away yet, Graham, because it's his job to lose, basically, that he will decide when it will be time to leave. I don't think it will be the other way about. I think it will be David Martindale says, like, I'm away, cheerio, but I don't think the board will kind of like come round and say, maybe in Sunday night we could be talking about Martindale away, but I very much doubt it as well. Are you not surprised that this game's not on the TV?
Probably not, given the games that are on. I mean, it is a big game, don't get me wrong, but I think you're not going to really not have Rangers against Ayr on. You're not going to have St Mirren against Hibs not on. St Mirren against Celtic. And obviously Hearts are the third best team in the league just now, so you're not going to not have that on. You maybe could have not shown Motherwell Morton, but I'm actually quite glad that game is on because it's a big game, so I'm not really that surprised. And to be honest, I think the reason it's probably not on is because there's not really going to be massive. I don't think there'll be a massive shock if Partick win because they're a better side than Livingston. They're a better side than Livingston. You know, they're a far better side, and if Livingston win, that might be more of a shock than Partick winning.
I know. I guess it was all that I would be on the TV because obviously they beat Ross County in the last round as well, and to be honest, I'm surprised that game wasn't on as well because of the playoff final. It was up the last season, you know. But there you go. I don't pick the TV, but I would have liked to see that game as well. I thought it would have been a good game. But the Partick Thistle fans will be out in their numbers, Graham.
Yeah, but it should be a decent crowd, and they know if they win, they're in the quarter-final. And this is a far bigger game for Livingston for me because I suppose in terms of the league form, cup football's a different kind of thing. You know, if you win tomorrow, you're in a quarter-final. You're looking at maybe cup draw, getting a decent draw there. You could be in the semis. I mean, what an achievement that would be for Livingston, given how bad they've been. But for Partick Thistle, again, there's no pressure on them. But I honestly fancy Partick to win this game by 2 or 3 because Livingston are just such a poor side. They're in really poor form. If Partick get an early goal, I think they really could win it quite comfortably. Like I said, they got that quality out wide in Lawless and Fitzpatrick. Brian Graham up front, who's a natural goal scorer, that for me, Livingston just don't have. They're relying on kind of Curtis Guthrie, Bruce Anderson for goals who don't score a lot of goals. I think Livingston's best player just now is James Penrice, who will probably leave in the summer. So I think Livingston are in all sorts of trouble just now. But maybe this might take a bit of pressure off them. The fact it is a cup, it gets them into league form, but I honestly fancy Partick to win this.
And I know that I was speaking about Hearts and Airdrie. If the game was at Tynecastle, you would say Hearts would win easy. But if the game was at Livingston, I would still say Partick Thistle would win.
No, so with that, 100%. This is why when the draw was made and Partick Livingston actually looked at that and thought, Partick have got a chance here. Livingston's form has not got any better. You know, like I said, 17 league games without a win. Their only win so far has been against Wraith in the last round. It's not been a great run. They don't score enough goals. They concede too many goals. Like I said, they were maybe a bit unfortunate on Wednesday against Kilmarnock. They might have got a point at the game, but lost it in the end. They can't keep clean sheets. And if you can't stop losing goals, you're going to get this as a problem. And the way that Partick are playing just now, you're in a really good position in the Championship. They could still potentially come up, which I think they probably should because they're a big club. But I fancy Partick to win this, and I don't think there's many folk that wouldn't fancy them to win this.
Keep your comments coming in by way shock of the round. Gregor says, I think Motherwell, Aberdeen, Hibs, Kilmarnock, Rangers, Hearts, Packet, Thistle, and Celtic. There you go. We'll go through to the next round. But yeah, so that's the Packet Thistle Livingston game tomorrow. I don't think there'll be any shocks at this next game, Graham. Kilmarnock against Cove Rangers.
It'd be fun if there was. But nah, this should be a comfortable win for Kilmarnock. Cove are doing all right in League One. They're third, but they are like 14 points off second place Hamilton and 22 points off the leaders, who are, of course, Falkirk. But they do have a striker in form, a guy called Ruman Burrell, who's got 18 goals in the league. He's a top scorer in the League One. So, you know, people are looking to get a couple of chances, but I don't see anything other than a comfortable Kilmarnock win. And again, when the draw was made, that's a draw that I wanted. Cove at home, but Kilmarnock have got them. So, yeah, I think Kilmarnock will be very, very comfortable.
Yeah, no, definitely. And top of Kilmarnock's home record this season as well, Graham.
Yeah, they are a good side at home. We know what they've already done to teams like Celtic and Rangers. They're a good side. Slightly fortunate to get the 3 points against Livingston, but they got them in the end. And they are very strong at home. You know, Derek McInnes has got a good side there. They are still in the hunt for fourth place in the league, which I think they might get. So, yeah, they've got a very good side there. Now, I'm sure that Derek McInnes won't take Cove lightly, but it's a game they should win quite comfortably. Again, an early goal, and I think they'll win by 4 or 5.
The Kilmarnock assistant manager was talking to the media yesterday, Paul Sheridan. He says it will be... he says it will be a good run for... we're on a good run at home this season so far, so it'll be great. So we're in a good place at the moment. He goes on to say a cup run is important for us, and it's a good opportunity for us to get to the later rounds. You never know, Graham. They met Celtic last season. Okay, it was in a different competition, the League Cup semi-final, but and that was the first time in 10 years, so never say never in football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kilmarnock will look for a bit of a cup run, which I think they'll get now. Again, if they get past Cove, which they should do, and then get a decent draw in the next round, they could easily get to Hampden Park. It's been a long time since Kilmarnock won a Scottish Cup. They'll be looking to try and get back there again, and this gives them a chance tomorrow. You know, beat Cove comfortably, get to the quarterfinals, and you just never know with a draw. The team news is out from Motherwell. I'll give you Motherwell's team news for tonight's game against Morton. It's Kelly in goal. O'Donnell, Mugabe, Butcher. Oh, it's just run off my screen. I'll try to get back. It's just run off my screen. Here it is. Butcher, McGinn, Gent, Zavrowski, Miller, Payton, Spittle, and the main man, who I never thought would be saying this, Theo Bair. On the bench for Motherwell is Oxborough, Obika, Halliday, Casey, Nicholson, Blaney, Devine, Buyabu, and Vale. So that's the Motherwell team tonight against Morton. I'm just trying to get the Morton side as well. I don't know if that's out yet.
I don't know if any Kilmarnock fans are watching, but am I thinking about the last time Kilmarnock won the Scottish Cup? Paul Wright was in that team, or am I going right back there?
I think it might have been they beat Falkirk at Ibrox, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if Paul Wright was in the team then. I'm not absolutely sure. That's how old I am, Grim. And I'm not going to tell you Grim's age. That's why he sits doing the show. He gets his whole back sometimes as well.
1997, Mikey says.
19, yeah, good stuff. Yeah. I wonder if, yeah, Paul Wright, Paul Di Giacomo, and all that players were on the team. Hey, I used to be a Curry fan back in the day. I just went for the Pies. So yeah, I mean, Kamal's been on good form at the moment. Albeit they were lucky to win the game on Wednesday night. A good 3 points against a poor Livingston, but as you say, Graham, Livingston put a lot of effort into that game.
They did, and I'm sure that's something that David Martindale would like to try and take forward, but just they need to be more clinical. But Kilmarnock won't care. It was a big 3 points, especially with Hearts beating St Johnstone. You know, if they drop points there, it would have been a probably game over for third place. I think it probably is anyway, hopefully. But I've said that before and been proven wrong. But yeah, big 3 points for Kilmarnock. But I think tomorrow, again, a bit like how United at Ibrox, Cove have got nothing to lose. They can go there, have a go, you know, give it their best, but I just think Kilmarnock will be far too strong for them.
Yeah, too strong indeed in that game. And if you're going to the game, enjoy your curry pie. I'm not jealous at all. As well, maybe just put in the chat what's your favourite pie. Now, I don't know why I'm getting to that stage in the night where I'm a bit hungry. Because me and Glenn and Reagan was talking about pies before we came on. I'll move swiftly on after that conversation. So one of my other shocks of the weekend, Glenn, is up in Mika says the 11 pies are good. Yeah, they're good. That's why I took 5 the last time I was there. One of my shocks at the weekend, Graham, Inverness against Hibs.
Yeah, this is again a really tough game. I mean, Duncan Ferguson done a decent job for Inverness. They lost to Queen's Park last week, though, at home, which was a massive blow. They're 7th in the Championship. They do like to play a kind of 3-4-3 formation, and they've got a quality striker up front in Billy Mackay who will look at to cause problems. But you're looking at Hibs' team, and there was positives they could take from that game against Celtic. I thought they were a lot better, especially second half. They maybe could have got something at the game. It is a massive, massive game for both teams. Hibs probably will win it, but again, it's one of these games. I mean, it would be a shock, I suppose, but the fact Inverness are at home, they'll be up for this, but it's a really, really tough game to call. Micah said, I can't see us losing to Inverness, but I can see us going down 1-0. I genuinely think it's going to be so difficult for Hibs tomorrow, but they've got enough quality in that team. You know, like I said, I think we're a bit unfortunate not to get something out of the game out on Wednesday, and I'm sure it's going to take time for the new players that Hibs have got to settle. You know, the guy Maluda looks a decent player, but they've obviously still got Martin Boyle, who's a massive threat. It's a tough game, but I think Hibs probably will just sneak it.
I've got no idea what has to Scumble says here. Maybe I'm a bit slow. That he says, I spy with my little eye. Something beginning with P. What do you mean, pies or something else? Let us know in the chat. I don't know why I started this conversation for. Worst pies I ever had was when I was a wee boy, Axton Rat in the cup, and the meat. Right, okay, that's enough now. Next week we'll have Mary Berry on the show, right? Yeah, look out for Will. She is a good player. Do you mean on a pie front, or do you mean yeah? Okay, I think we better go back to speak about the game, Graham. And I mean Inverness. Don't forget Inverness got to the cup final last season.
They did, and that'll give them confidence. And Duncan Ferguson is proven to be a good manager so far at Inverness. He's done well. They'll obviously try to look to climb the league, but again, cup duty. It's a big, big game for Inverness tomorrow. Again, it'll probably be like a cup final for them. But again, if they can win get to a quarter final, get back to Hampden again. It's a great opportunity for them. But you would think that Hibs should have more than enough. But then again, you look back to the last round against Forfar. Hibs weren't great against Forfar. You know, they could have easily lost that game, but they won it in the end through that dodge goal. So, you know, they all go into this game a bit like I am with Airdrie with trepidation. But I do think Hibs will have just enough quality to get through it. But again, it's a really difficult game. Really difficult game for Hibs.
Yeah, I mean, you would think. I thought Hibs played well on Wednesday night, and people could maybe point the fingers and say Celtic were pretty poor, but you've got to look at the team you were up against as well. And I thought Hibs, okay, they started the game a bit slow, Glenn, but I thought they come into the game in the second half. But do you think that they'll be up for the game tomorrow away to Inverness, or do you think there'll be a bit of skill disappointment there, losing the penalty in the last minute?
No, I think as players, you just dust yourself down and get on the next game. You know, that game's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. But they'll take positives from that game. You know, they did create chances. I think the guy Lennon Miller at the back post missed a great chance for Hibs. They had other chances as well. Second half, they were much, much better. So they've got to take confidence from that. They're going to wait a championship title will make it difficult. You know, Inverness is not an easy place to go. So they will make it difficult. But Hibs' quality should be enough. Like I said, I think the guy Maluda looks a good player. They've got other players there as well that are obviously still not quite up to speed with the league yet. And, you know, the standard of Scottish football. That all takes time. It all takes time to gel. Hibs signed a lot of players in the January window. So that's going to take time to gel. But Hibs should have more than enough quality to win tomorrow. But there will be that trepidation, though. You know, again, if Inverness were to score first, they can make it very difficult. But I think if Hibs get the first goal, then I think they'll win by maybe 2 or 3.
The Duncan Ferguson was talking yesterday about the game. He says it's going to be a tough game, but we are at home and it's a cup game, so anything could happen. And we're looking forward to the game. That's it, Glenn, because I mean, obviously, it's a cup final for Inverness as well, because they're coming up against a Premiership team. And also that this game's at home as well. But in saying that, if the game was at Easter Road, I wasn't sure. See, there's a few games like that in this round of the cup. You know, if the game was at home or away. But I have a feeling maybe Inverness might just make this one.
This is why every team wants a home game when they're in the cup. You just want that a bit of advantage. Inverness have got that. So it is going to hold that bit of trepidation for Hibs going up there to a difficult place. Duncan Ferguson will have Inverness piped up for this one. You know, he'll be up for this as well on the touchline. You can guarantee that. And Inverness have got good players there. I spoke about Billy Mackay earlier. They've got good players in that team that are Premier League players. So they've got a decent team there and they will cause Hibs problems. But you've got to think that Hibs' quality should shine through. But it is cup football. I mean, if Inverness were to win, I wouldn't be massively shocked because they are a good side. But I do expect Hibs' quality to prove crucial.
Yeah, no, exactly. And do you think that if it comes to it, Graham, then the Hibs fans will be calling for Mick Montgomery job?
Some of them already are. You know, I go on Twitter quite a lot and there's a lot of Hibs fans who are not happy. And I get it. They're on a bit of a poor run just now. But like I said, these things take time. When you bring a new manager in who brings these new players in, it does take time. I don't think you'll see the best of Montgomery's team until next season when he's got a full summer window to bring his own players in, get his style of football implemented. You've got to remember a lot of these players that Hibs have signed at the moment are on loan. So they'll go back to parent clubs unless they can sign them on permanent deals. So I don't think you'll see the best of Hibs until next season. They've got the investment from Bill Foley, although like I said, it's only minor investment. But they've got to spend it wisely. You don't know what Bill Foley is going to do with that, you know, with that money. If it's going to be invested in the squad or if it's going to be invested on the stadium, it's going to take time. So I think Hibs fans just need to kind of, again, just sit back a little bit and just give him time. You know, I was the same under Stephen Naismith. You know, I said ages ago what Naismith gone, and he's turned me around. He's proved me wrong, and I'm delighted with that. I think it's the same for Montgomery. It's just going to take a bit of time. They've got decent players there. They've got a decent squad there, but it just takes time. But tomorrow's a big game. Hibs want a cup run, like every team does. If they win tomorrow, get themselves into the quarter-final, again, get a decent draw in the quarter-final, you just never know. Hibs could be on the way to Hampden. Hopefully not, for me, but I think they'll win tomorrow, but it'll be difficult.
What do you think of the new people coming in at East Road? Because I think, maybe I'm wrong here, but I saw that interview with the chairman, of the Hibs Supporters Association the other night, and they weren't informed of this kind of like this kind of American new ownership, as it were, coming into the club. Do you think it's a good idea for like American people, or it doesn't matter if it's American or not, but people coming into the likes of Hearts to kind of like take over? Are they just using it as a bit of a kind of cash cow?
No one knows what the intentions are, let's be honest. But I've said before that for the bigger teams like Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen to challenge the top two, you need investment. You've got to spend it wisely. Now, what he does, Bill Foley, I don't know what he's going to do with that money. But if he's going to come in and, make Hibs a force, then fair play to Hibs. Hopefully it goes wrong from my side of things. But that's what you need. You need that investment to actually be up there challenging. You spoke about it, Ellen Reagan, about the fact that you need other teams competing. That's not really happening just now. It would be great if somebody could challenge. I'd rather it wasn't Hibs. But if they can challenge, then fair enough. But it does take that investment. Now, what he does with the money is going to be interesting. And how, obviously, as well, Nick Montgomery spends it is interesting. But like I said, they won't see the best of that till next season. It could be a good thing for them. Nobody's really going to know until we see what happens next season. If he brings in real quality, if he can, they'll lose players in the summer as well, because these players are on loan, a lot of them. So what he does is going to be interesting. But for Hibs fans, it's great. I've seen a lot of Hibs fans delighted on Twitter, and I get it completely. I understand that. I was the same when Romanov came in. That didn't quite go so well, but we'll not go into that. But it could be decent for Hibs. They need that investment. They need to be up there challenging, because let's be honest, Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen should be up there competing for things. We should be up there competing for maybe not titles, but certainly Scottish Cups and League Cups. It doesn't happen often enough. Celtic and Rangers win far too much, and that needs to change. I actually quite enjoyed it when St Johnstone won the League and Scottish Cup. I thought it was great. To win the League Cup and Scottish Cup for a couple of St Johnstone was brilliant. But it's difficult to
during lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. But it's difficult to maintain that. You've got to. The problem, I think, for most teams is nobody's consistent enough. Celtic and Rangers can win every week. Teams like Hearts, Hibs, Aberdeen, Motherwell can't do that. We all take points of each other. So that's what you need. You need that bit of consistency. And I think if Hibs can get the decent investment and spend it well, they could do all right. But again, for me, from a selfish point of view, I hope that doesn't happen.
You were saying about consistency, right? I think why they haven't got any consistency in the teams is because they keep sacking their managers every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a stat going around, I can't remember what it was, but I think a lot of managers in the league have lost their job this season, which, again, there isn't. I suppose a lot of teams feel the pressure. Maybe Livingston don't feel the pressure, which is why they've not sacked Martindale, because there's no pressure on them. I was quick to judge Stephen Naismith, but at the time, I thought it was the wrong appointment, but he's proved me wrong. And I've always said that results change narratives. If you're winning games, you'll get the backing of the fans. Now, he's on a 10-game unbeaten run. And I think as well with Hibs, they're not a great run just now. I think it's 7 games without a win, I think in the league especially. So results do change narratives, but you do need that bit of stability. A lot of clubs don't have that. It feels like, look what's happened with Ross County. That was a disaster of an appointment. To bring in a guy like Derek Adams, who, let's be honest, has been an absolute shambles of an appointment. And I completely understand why they've got rid of him. Now, I think it was mutual. I think he handed his resignation in. But I listened to a lot of different radio shows, and I know that our colleague Ross, the Ross County fan, ironically, he was on a show and he said that he wanted Derek Adams, but he was in the chat a few days ago saying he has to go. And I get it, because it just didn't work. When he made those comments, and again, I've said this before as well, when you're talking about standard of Scottish football, that's fine. Park that. You can leave that to one side. But when you are publicly criticising your players and saying that the team that you left in League Two in England are better than what you've got now, that was never going to go down well with your players. They would have heard that. Why would you want to play for a manager like that? And some of his comments in the media have just been an absolute disaster. And you said it before as well in the chat. He didn't want to be here. Why did he come back? Seriously, why did he come back?
And I think as well, I didn't like about his comments, Graham, was he was running down Scottish football.
He did, and it was every week. You know, he basically said after the game on Tuesday against Motherwell, I heard his interview, and he basically said that, you know, he was going to talk with his chairman and stuff, but it sounded like he wanted to go. And it's felt like that for weeks. He didn't want to be there. And, you know, I said this at the time as well, when he made the comments about the standard of Scottish football, I got a little bit of what he was saying, because maybe the quality isn't great, but don't
come out and say it.
No, exactly. And then don't bring Morecambe into it. Why would you do that? And your players would have heard that. Your fans would have heard that. And immediately, if I'm a Ross County fan, I'm thinking, well, if that's what you think, why are you here? I just thought it was a really poor appointment from Roy McGregor, and it just didn't work. Mikey said it's the way he called his previous team us. Exactly. You know, why would you do that? He's not going to be missed in Scottish football. Don Cowie's got the job interim manager now. I think he'll do all right. But he just had that, I think it was a poisonous atmosphere at Ross County with Derek Adams in there. Every interview was the same. He never took responsibility on anything when they got beat. It was always someone else's fault. It was never his. You'd have more respect for him if he said, you know what, that's on me. But he never did it. It was a really poor appointment, and I'm delighted he's gone, because Scottish football does get talked down a lot. We don't need that from somebody employed in Scottish football. It's bad enough as it is.
Yeah, exactly. And they get paid to run down Scottish football. For I don't, you know, that's good. Okay, the next game of the last weekend, it's maybe David Goliath, you would say, at Aberdeen against Bonnie Rig Road, and it's Neil won. First home game as Aberdeen manager. First of all, Graham, what's your thoughts about his appointment? I think he's going to be a good addition to the Scottish game. I mean, you're going from the opposite here. You're going from Derek Adams to talking down Scottish football. Yeah, when you listen to Neil talking on Monday, he's always wanted to manage in Scottish football.
I love it. I think it's box office. I think it's a great appointment.
Yeah.
And again, it's sensible. You know, it's only to the end of the season. I don't know if he'll get offered it full time after that. I don't know. But certainly for the short term period, I think it's a great appointment. You know, I love the way that he talks. I love his passion, the way he comes across. You know, even after the game on Tuesday, he was talking about the ball boys at Ibrox and stuff. And did they get, you know, I think it's great. His press conferences are going to be fantastic. I mean,
I like it.
The difference between a Barry Robson interview and a Neil Warnock interview is night and day. You know, that you can see the kind of passion that Neil Warnock's got. And you're right. He wanted to manage the Scottish football for a long time. Hearts could have appointed him, and I think he did talk about that. But I think Aberdeen have got a really good manager there. And, you know, his first game at Ibrox was going to be difficult. His first home game against Bonnyrigg Rose, it'll be a great occasion. Should be a decent crowd there. But I honestly think having a guy like Neil Warnock in the Scottish game is brilliant for the league. And it's brilliant for Scottish football as well, because let's be honest, people in England will now look at that and go, oh, Neil Warnock in Scottish football, I might actually watch some of that. I think it's great. I think it raises the profile of Scottish football massively.
Yeah, no. I watched his press conference on Monday, and I watched his press conference after the Rangers game, and you know, it was giving the media guys some laugh, and I can't remember what he was saying word for word, but you know, but yeah, I mean, he's up here for a few months until the end of the season anyway, but it's going to be a good banner for Scottish football.
I'm actually quite jealous that Aberdeen have got him. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm liking Stephen Naismith just now, But having a guy like Neil Warnock and with the experience that he's got, the quality he's got. Listen, these teams don't always play great football, but what you will get is absolute passion, and you're going to get the best out of that. He's going to get the best out of that squad, and you can just see that he wants to be here. He's not one of these managers that's come for a payday. He wants to manage the Scottish football. He wants to manage Aberdeen, and I like that. I think it's great. Neil Warnock said. Paul Donaldson says Neil Warnock said about 3 times in his press conference today how much he wanted to win the Scottish Cup, and Dante Bavara mentioned that Neil Warnock has said it to the players too. That's what you want. I don't think, and I don't want to be disrespectful here, but I just think at times you listen to Barry Robson and it was kind of a bit monotone. It wasn't really showing a lot of passion. Neil Warnock's been in the job 5 minutes and look at it already. He's talking about wanting to win the Scottish Cup and how much it means to people. I think it's great. I genuinely think it's great, and I'm genuinely jealous that Aberdeen have got him because I think he's going to be a great addition to the Scottish League.
See, I think that's one of the comments you would love to hear from a manager that's just in the door. Whereas compared to a manager up here in Scotland, I know the leagues are a different kettle of fish to them, right? But then they would say, well, we're aiming to finish 4th or 5th or 3rd or whatever. But this is never going to happen. But if Neil Warnock could come around and say, no, we are going to challenge the top 2. When have you ever heard of a Scottish manager? I think I've said this before in the show, Glenn. When have you ever heard of a Scottish manager saying, yeah, we'll be challenging Celtic and Rangers for the league? Deep down, they'll be thinking, we've got no chance of winning the league. But, you can't say that. You've got to say, yeah, we'll have a go, and all right, we might not have the budget to beat them, but we'll be up there challenging. Instead of managers in Scotland saying, it's like 2 leagues. It's like a league between Celtic and Rangers, and then a league between the rest of the teams in the league.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want. And I just love the fact that Neil Warnock is refreshing honesty. I mean, I've watched numerous different interviews with Neil Warnock, and I've actually watched him talking to his players during after games and stuff. And his enthusiasm, his passion, he just gives brutal honesty, which I quite like. And I like the fact that he has come in and basically said that. I think it's great for the Scottish game. And, Mikey said, I love how eccentric Warnock is, real breath of fresh air. And he is. He's brought that in. And last time that was properly said was when Burley was appointed. Yeah. I'm still gutted that Burley left Hearts. Neil Warnock said in his press conference his target was to finish as high up in the table as possible and win the Scottish Cup. And again, I love the enthusiasm for Warnock because, again, you're right. A lot of managers wouldn't say that. But he's come in with that kind of philosophy that, and I think as well, I think there's one thing saying it, it's another thing doing it, but I think Warnock will actually do that. I think they will get high up in the league. I think they'll probably get back in that top 6. Whether they win the Scottish Cup, again, I don't know. They might do. They've got a good chance. It's a great game for them tomorrow. Playing against a League 2 side at home again, another team that I would have wanted. As a Hearts supporter, I would have loved Bonnyrigg Rose. But it's a great game for both teams. I mean, what an occasion this will be for Robbie Horn's Bonnyrigg team. To go up to Tawdry, it'll be brilliant. They'll bring a decent crowd up there, I think, from Bonnyrigg. It'll be a fantastic occasion for both teams, and hopefully Bonnyrigg do themselves proud. I'm sure they will. But I just think Neil Warnock is going to be a great addition. Now, a couple of different shows that I'm involved in. A couple of Aberdeen fans have not been overly impressed that Warnock's been appointed in the short term. I don't agree. I think it's a great appointment. I think he'll do really well. And I think, as has been mentioned there by Mikey, he's a breath of fresh air. And I think he'll be great for the Scottish League.
Paul, as an Aberdeen fan in the chat, what would you take? Would you take the Scottish Cup over the league, or would you take making the top 6 over the Scottish Cup? And I might know what you're going to see here. As a football fan, you would go into both, but if you had to pick one or the other, what would you pick? What do you think the Aberdeen fans would pick? If Dave was here, what would he say, Grim?
Paul said, I think at this stage, 4th place is still within reach and the Scottish Cup is achievable. After 34 years, surely time must come to an end at some point. You would like to think so, Paul. Even as an outsider, you'd like to think that Aberdeen will finally win that Scottish Cup. I think Dave would probably say Scottish Cup. You know, you want to win a trophy. It's been too long since Aberdeen have won one. They have to win a trophy eventually. So I think they would probably, listen, they don't want to finish top six. They don't want to finish out the selected top six, but Paul said it there. Scottish Cup all day long. You know, winning a cup is massive. For teams outside of Celtic and Rangers, you don't have much else you can win apart from the cups. So I think winning the Scottish Cup would be massive, and there's no reason Aberdeen couldn't do that. They've got a really good game tomorrow at home. They would imagine they'll be in the quarterfinal draw on Sunday, and then you just never know with the luck of the draw. But Aberdeen have got to win the Scottish Cup at some point.
Would you, obviously Paul can comment in the chat as well, Glenn, but would you give Neil Warnock the job if he does that?
It would be up to him.
Or would you just give him the job anyway? I think from a Selby's point of view, I think just give him the job because it'll be good kind of Scottish banter, you would say, in every week.
Well, he's 76. I don't know how long he's thinking about going on for. You know, if this is a job that he wants to take full time, I don't know. But it'll be up to Warnock. You know, I'm pretty sure they'll have that conversation towards the end of the season, depending where Aberdeen are. If he wants the job, I think it'll probably be his to lose because I don't think there's a lot of other decent candidates out there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think if Warnock was offered the job, would he take it? I don't know. It would depend. It depends where Warnock sees himself in another couple of years. Does he want to try one more job in England if he was to get offered there, or would he be happy to stay in Scotland? It's a tough one. It is a really difficult one.
Would you say that if Neil Warnock does well up in Scotland, the fans would get behind Dave Cormack again? Because obviously he's got the last two appointments horribly wrong. I don't know what Paul feels about that, but what about you, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Goodwin didn't work. Barry Robson didn't work. Although, I said it before, I thought Robson had done all right. You know, I thought they were really good in European games. They should have had a lot more points than they did. Inconsistent in the league, of course. Yeah. But I thought Robson was doing okay. Obviously, I don't watch Aberdeen every week, so I don't know what they've been playing like. But they've got a good squad there. And again, the fact they kept Majowski in January was huge. If they can get the best out of that squad under Warnock. And the one thing you'll get from Warnock's team is a team that's up for it every week. I thought on Tuesday they were, again, going to Ibrox is never easy. I thought they weren't great on Tuesday, but I'm not going to have a go at Warnock for that because that was his first game. They'll get a lot better. They will get a lot better. I'd be half enough to give him next season if things go okay the rest of the season. And if he'd take it, which is a fair assessment, I think. You know, it just depends of where Warnock's head is at. If he thinks he wants to stay in Scotland, he might love it here. He might decide, you know what, I want to stay here for a bit longer and take it. And I think if Dave Cormack was to offer him the job full time and he took it, I think Aberdeen fans would be delighted because he has got a lot of things wrong recently. And I'm sure that Dave Cormack knows that. And I'm pretty much sure that Dave as well would say if he was on the show tonight, you know, I think things haven't been great at Aberdeen recently. But if they can win a Scottish Cup and get top six, they'd be delighted with it.
And that's the Scottish Cup action of the weekend. Don't forget, and we've got a small matter of a league game. I don't know why it's on Sunday, but anyway, it is Dundee against Johnson. With a 2:00 kickoff. That is actually, and there's a game in the Championship tomorrow. Dunfermline against Queen's Park.
Yeah, and Dunfermline off the back of a horrendous 5-0 defeat against Morton last week. Don't think anyone expected that. But it's a game they should be looking to build on, to bounce back from. It'll be difficult, don't get me wrong. But again, I think Dunfermline might just win this game because of what happened last week. They'll be looking to bounce back. For that Dundee St Johnstone game, though, again, I've said it before on the show, I've been really impressed with Dundee. Play a lot of good stuff. They've got a lot of good quality in there from Luke McKibben and Lyle Cameron and stuff. They were unfortunate not to take a point from Hearts last week. I thought they were excellent. You know, they go to St Mirren on Wednesday, get beat 2-0, but I thought they were all right. So, again, being at home, I think they might win this. St Johnstone on Wednesday night didn't offer a lot going forward. I thought the laddie up front that scored last week, I can't mind the guy's name, Kim Pioka, I thought he looked a real threat. A lot of pace, he was a handful. They've still obviously got Nicky Clark to come back. They've got Stephen May to come back. They've got a decent squad there, but I just think the way that Dundee are playing, especially at home, I actually fancy Dundee to win that game.
And what about the championship game tomorrow as well, Glenn?
I'm just trying to look at the league table, actually, see what's happening in the league table. I should have had that up. I'm just trying to see how far. Here we go. So Dunfermline are sitting on. Oh, actually, Dunfermline are sitting 8th on 24. Queen's Park are sitting 9th on 23. I think home advantage might count for Dunfermline, but like I said, they're looking to bounce back after that hammering last week. Queen's Park won last week against Inverness away from home, but I just think Dunfermline will bounce back after that defeat last week. You know, I've on my TikToks that I do, I've got a Dunfermline fan on there who's not overly happy with James McPake as manager, which I can completely understand because he's not doing very well just now. But I think they'll bounce back after that defeat last week. Arbroath, for me, I know they're not playing, but they look down. They're on 18 points at the bottom of the league, and they look down just now. And I think as well, Jesus touching on Arbroath as well, and I put this in the chat a couple of days ago, Dick Campbell is back in management. He's managing East Fife just now, and I'm delighted to see Dick Campbell back in management. I don't think he would be for a while. I thought he might take a bit of a break, but I'm delighted to see him back because he's such a character. You know, we talk about Neil Warnock and what he'll bring to the Scottish League. To have Dick Campbell back, I think it's a great appointment for East Fife, and I hope he does well because he's a legend of the game, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, exactly. Before we finish up tonight, let's go on to the Oval Ball there, and hopefully we will continue our winning streak because last week's game was a very tight game against Wales, actually. Scotland against France tomorrow is a big game at Murrayfield. England against Wales and Ireland against Italy. I'll just let you know because the under-20s, if you're into your rugby, you'll know this already. The under-20s Six Nations is on tonight. England against Wales, Ireland against Italy, and Scotland, fun enough, is at home against, France at 8 o'clock, Graham.
Yeah, and having watched that game against Wales last week from behind the sofa, I genuinely couldn't believe what I was watching. To be 27-0 up and nearly throw that away, I couldn't believe that. But it was a massive, massive win. We were on the show last week talking about that game and said Scotland had to get off to a good start, win that first game with 2 home games to come. We did it eventually, but very, very difficult. This is a game that, again, Scotland will look forward to their first game at home against a decent French side, but we've got to build on last week. Win that game last week, win this game now, and Scotland, I've said it before, have got a decent chance in the Six Nations, but we can't be throwing away leads like that because that was it was so nerve-wracking last week and it didn't need to be, but a big win for Scotland though.
How big a couple of weeks would it be for Scotland? Because after this game, tomorrow they've got France, and then I think they've got a week off, and then they come back and play a team. I've never heard of this team before. England, you heard of it?
If we beat them again, we get to keep them.
Yeah, well, maybe not. But anyway, maybe send them home, do you think, again? I don't know. Anyway, so how important would it be for the momentum of the team to beat France tomorrow and then to beat England in 2 weeks' time? Both games is at home as well.
And that should help, having home advantage. You'll have a really passionate Scotland crowd behind you. Spoke about Finn Russell before. Again, he was a big player for us last week. But 2 big games to come. And I think if we can beat France, having won last week, it would give us massive confidence going into that England game. England are no great shakes. They were very pudding and stickler last week. Could have lost. Unfortunately, didn't. But, Gregor Townsend's done a decent job. I know still a lot of Scotland fans are not convinced by him, but I think he's done a decent job. If they go in tomorrow, it would be huge. It would just, give us that bit of confidence going into an England game, which would be absolutely massive. And again, we've nothing to fear from England. We've beaten them before. We can do it again because that is not a good England side.
No, exactly. And I suppose it will make up for the disappointment of the World Cup for Scotland because, you know, they were a bit disappointed. Okay, they were up against big teams and all that. Ireland was in the pool, and who I can't remember offhand who they had as well. South Africa. But very poor performance. After, I mean, we nearly won the Six Nations last year, Graham. We only came up, we've only 2 games away.
Yeah, we didn't do ourselves justice World Cup, and I'm sure that Gregor Townsend and the players know that as well. We just didn't do enough. But we were up against decent teams, though, so I'm not going to be too harsh on them. But tomorrow against a big game, Scotland, I said it last week, I've got a big chance of winning the Six Nations. And that game against Wales, the first win in Wales for, 30-odd years, was huge. Now, again, I'd have liked it a bit more comfortable, and it did look that way. After 43 minutes to be 27-0 up, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be anything other than easily a comfortable Scotland win. But it just goes to show how quickly a game can change. Hopefully tomorrow Scotland will come out with that passion that they showed last week, get a couple of early scores and not concede this time. But again, 2 big games. I'll just as well, because I gave my other team earlier on for the Scottish Cup, I'll give you the Morton team. So it's Mullen in goal, Strap, O'Connor, Baird, Blues, Muirhead, Crawford, Power, Oakley, French and Wilson. And on the bench for Morton, it's Murdoch, Waters, Katongo, Broadfoot, McGrattan, Garrity, Byrne and Gillespie. So that's the Morton team and the Motherwell team for the Scottish Cup game at 7:30 tonight.
So, going back to that game as well, Morton's got a lot of experience in there. Broadfoot, Kakongo. I don't know if F.A. Ambrose is still there. He must have been good last season, Glenn, because every time I saw they were on the telly, they were singing F.A. Ambrose's name.
Yeah, I mean, F.A. Ambrose was a bit of an enigma. Sometimes he looked really good, and other times he looked dreadful. But I suppose that's a decent league for him, though. The Championship. If you make mistakes, it's not going to be scrutinised as much because it's, let's be honest, they're not on telly that much. So yeah, I mean, F.A. Ambrose is a decent professional. But like you said, that's why I kind of think that Morton have got a chance tonight, because they do have that experience in there. This will be a tough game. And again, more breaking news, and I'm quite surprised about this as well. So St Mirren's official website. Now, I said earlier on about the St Mirren Dundee game, and I thought the red card was never a red card. Well, St Mirren have just put on their website, St Mirren FC can confirm that our appeal of James Bolton's red card has been dismissed, and James will miss the next 2 matches. Clearly, we feel hugely disappointed by this. We will be seeking full clarification on the process that reached this decision. I genuinely can't believe that's been given as a red card, because for me, that is not a sending off. And the fact that they've reviewed that and still said it's a sending off, I don't get that. So I completely understand why St Mirren are looking to seek clarity from that, because that is never a sending off.
Yeah, I know. It's Scottish football. I know we spoke about VR every week on the show now since VR came into play in Scotland, but it's got to ruin the game, because if a decision gets taken against your team, then you're going to have emails every week to the SFA, and that's not what we want.
There is absolutely no malice in the challenge. There is no major contact there. He's not high. He's not late. He's not reckless. It's a coming together. There is nothing in that. It's not, for me, it's not even a booking, let alone a sending off. And the fact that they've seen that, given the red card by VAR, and then they've thrown out the appeal, I honestly, it just defies belief. It really does. For me, that is never a sending off. As Lino said there, dear oh dear. And I understand that, because for me, having seen it a few times, I don't know what the officials are watching, and I don't know what the guys that have reviewed that decision are watching, because it's a scandalous decision. That is never a sending off. And St Mirren are going to miss a guy for a couple of games for a decision that's not his fault. It's an absolute joke. And this is what I said earlier on. Referees can barely understand what a yellow or red card is, and they want to bring blue cards in. I'm glad that looks like it's going to be scrapped. Seriously, it's a terrible decision.
I know, but it's Scottish football, so they don't know what they're up to, fun and games and all that. Anyway, so thanks for watching tonight. Brilliant comments as ever. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Graham. Thanks to Reagan. We'll be back on Sunday after the Scottish Cup weekend. We're on, remember, 7 o'clock on Sunday night, 7 till 9. So Yeah, so we'll see you on Sunday and enjoy the weekend. And see you soon.
See you guys.